Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Northie Tara. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a content creator based in Montreal. You can follow me on my social media, Northie Tara. My TikTok is pashu.shop, and then I have my YouTube. So you could subscribe, like, share, encourage me. Anything you guys do, I obviously appreciate it. So thank you in advance. So on today's episode, I want to discuss kind of like my experience being an influencer and the pros and the cons. There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons, and I feel like some people, they don't realize it just because everyone nowadays wants to become an influencer. But I feel like before making that decision, like, you need to know the pros and the cons, right? So let's start with the pros. So you get a lot of opportunities, a lot of paid opportunities. Some brands, they could hire you to be a model. Some brands, they could hire you to create UGC content for them. So, you get paid, which is a pro, obviously. You get free stuff, you get some PR, you get to collaborate with many different brands, some bigger brands, some smaller brands, some brands that you actually do love and that you use their products on a day-to-day basis, and some where you're kind of like exploring the brand because it's new to you. You get invited to like these amazing events, these PR events, and you're able to bring a +1 most of the time, where there's like free drinks and free food, and there's a photo booth, and then you get to see the people who you see most of the times at these types of events. So you kind of like get to see your friends in a sense, and this and that. So that's really cool. And I feel like you're able to also influence people in a way. I feel like that's cool also. And then the cons would be a lot of brands, especially where I'm from, they don't really consider me as an influencer, just because I'm not the typical girl they're going to go for. They're going to go for more like a white girl, which is going to speak for their brand and for the people who buy from them, which I understand in a sense. But for me, it means that I don't get to have those opportunities or even be considered, right? And I don't really feel like it's 100% because of where I'm from, because I remember this other girl on TikTok, this blog girl, she was talking about her experience being a content creator, and she feels like, and she's from the States, right? So she feels like being a content creator, a Black content creator, you definitely lose a lot of opportunities, or you don't even have the chance to get the opportunity just because you're Black, right? And those brands are going towards, as I said, like a typical girl for their audience, for their community, for the people who actually buy their products. So, I understand, but I still feel like as a brand, you should want to kind of like broaden your community and have different types of girls represent your company, your brand, when you have different campaigns and this and that. Just because if I'm always going to see the typical white girl with blue eyes and blonde hair, as a Black girl, I don't feel like when you're doing your campaign or, when she's creating the content, it makes me feel like I'm not your target audience and the product that you're trying to push isn't for me. Which for the brand, at the end of the day, you're losing money. But a lot of brands, they don't feel the need to kind of like have a Black girl represent their brand, or an Asian girl or a plus size model represent their brand, because they don't see the value in that, which honestly sucks. I remember I was talking to this white girl who's a content creator, and she's a friend, like she's a virtual friend. I see her from time to time whenever like we're at the same PR event. And I remember we were talking about some of the contracts that we recently had, and she was like, oh yeah, like I did the same contract as you. I got paid like $2,000 just to do like a 30-second reel on my Instagram and this and that. And I was like, damn, like this brand really tried to screw me over. They only offered me like $500. You know what I mean? And when I think about it, like obviously she's super transparent, and I don't even think that she was just trying to stunt or whatever. She was just, she was just talking. But that just made me think like, okay, like I don't think I'm getting as many opportunities as I should because of my skin color. And it made me sad for a bit, just because of like, this is something I can't control. And I do feel like I should have the same opportunities as everyone else. But then, since it's something that I can't control, I kind of have to let it go. So I kind of got over it. Sometimes me and my sister, we have this discussion of how unfair some brands are. But then at the end of the day, do I actually want to work with a brand that isn't trying to reach a broader community and is always trying to push the typical white girl, that when you go on their Instagram, they have no black girls, they have no plus size models, they have no Asian girls, they have no one from the LGBTQ community. And I feel like, why would I want to work with a brand like that? And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, well, maybe you should have just negotiated better, or you should just increase your rates and this and that. And it's not about me increasing my rates or negotiating better, because I have my rates, which I think is fair. A brand can either accept it or reject it. But I feel like it's more about brands being transparent and brands being fair to the influencers that they're working with. So if you feel like this girl, she's gonna get paid 2K on a deal, well, then it should be like that for everyone, right? It's not only for just this one girl. And if you guys are thinking like, oh, well, maybe she had more followers than you, or maybe she has better engagement than you and this and that. Back then, I had twice as much followers than her, and my engagement was booming. Like, I remember I had this video that went viral and I got 2 million views on Instagram. So it's not even about your engagement, or it's not even about how many followers you have. She is always going to get more opportunities than me, simply because of my skin color. So, and then another con would be, you get to meet a lot of people. Obviously, it's not a con, I'm getting to it. You get to meet a lot of people, but they're not true friends, right? Most of the time when you're at PR events, or when you meet other content creators, they're mostly gonna be your friend just because they want some of your followers, or they may want you to mention them in a story or this and that. Like, I kind of mentioned this in my last YouTube video. A lot of like social climbers, if I might say, only going to be your friend just because you have more followers than them, or because they know that you're friends with this other girl that has maybe, like, let's say 500K followers, and they want to get close to her because she has more followers. So what they're going to do is they're going to be your friend, and then they're going to try to be her friend through you, if that makes sense. And then they're just gonna drop you out like a fly. Like, I've seen it very, very commonly. I remember I was friends with this girl, and then one of her goals was to be more popular and to have more followers on Instagram, because she wants to promote her brand more, which I understand. But like, there's different ways of gaining more followers than being a social climber. So I remember she was like, okay, so I'm going to be friends with her because she has more followers than me. And if I'm friends with her, then maybe she's just going to mention my brand, or she's going to wear my clothes and this and that for free, right? So everything is kind of like calculated, and nothing is genuine in this type of world. If ever you have met a friend in the content creation world, or like the influencer world, and it's actually like your true friend, kudos to you. I haven't gotten the chance to experience that yet, because I could kind of like see right through people, and especially in the content creator world, like, everyone is like super fake. I feel like everyone is super fake, but I'm sure it does happen where you actually meet friends, and you have genuine connections and this and that. So those are like the pros and the cons. I just want to quickly circle back to when I said, like, one of the pros is being a model for the brands and this and that. I remember I really wanted to be a model when I was younger, just because I think it's so cool. Like, you get to model for the brand, and then you can see your pictures on their website and then on their Instagram. And I remember I was once on set for this brand, and like I'm not the skinniest girl ever, but I still feel like I'm not like I'm at a healthy weight where I shouldn't really be considered as a plus size girl, you know what I mean? And I remember like this guy, he was making comments about like my body and then my stomach and this and that, and I just felt so uncomfortable, and I was like, fuck, like why am I here? Like why am I in an environment where this person is making me feel like shit? He's talking badly about my body. He's making me feel self-conscious, which is horrible for my mental health. Already I'm like an overthinker, so I was like, okay, like I just feel like this is not the right environment for me. So right after that shoot, I didn't say anything to the photographer just because I was too shy, and I just felt as if it wasn't really like necessary for me to say anything just because I didn't want to start trouble and this and that. But after that day, I remember just telling myself, like, I don't want to work with a brand that's going to make me feel self-conscious about my weight and how I look and this and that. I don't want to do that. Why? To get paid, what, like $200 for like a 2-hour shoot? Is that really worth it? No. For me, it's not worth it. So I decided that I'm only going to work with specific brands because they make me feel good and they're good for my mental health and they're encouraging, and you know, they're not talking shit about my body and this and that. So I still do modeling. I work with specific brands that I absolutely love. Example, I work with Ardan. I love working with Ardan. They're like one of the sweetest teams ever. I also do a lot of modeling for Lil Underwear, which is a Montreal-based brand. They are also one of the sweetest people I know, especially like since their brand is lingerie, so you're like posing half naked. They make you feel so comfortable. Like I'm a black girl, so I have a lot of hyperpigmentation. They're not like, oh girl, like, you know, or example, if I kind of feel bloated that day or whatever, they're not gonna pass any comments on my body, or they're just really there to make you feel good, because when you feel good, the outcome of the pictures are gonna be amazing. So I really appreciate those two brands. And then maybe from time to time I might do like other shoots with other brands, but it's rare just because I don't ever want to be in that position where I feel like shit, you know. I'm not for that. I'm all about trying to feel my best every day. Some things are out of my control, and even if it wasn't my control, I just feel like it's just inappropriate to pass those type of comments. So that's really something that I wanted to tell you guys. You know, like everyone wants to be a model, everyone wants to be a content creator, everyone wants to be an influencer, but at the end of the day, it is kind of heavy on your mental health, as I mentioned before, on different things. But you know, there's a lot of pros also. So if ever any of you, you know, you need some advice on how to become a content creator, or how to get paid from brands, or what are the best brands to work with, or if you want to know like my experience with a brand or this and that, don't hesitate to send me an email. I feel like emails would be best. So send me an email. My email is in my bio. And then we could definitely like chit chat. I could hop on a call with you and kind of like help you through that journey, especially if you're like a black girl. I feel like our experience is fairly different from the other girls, as I mentioned before. But yeah, I don't want to be pessimist. I don't want you guys to think I'm a pessimist person. Honestly, I feel like it's just my reality, and with my platform, if I'm able to share my reality and to help other girls feel seen and to kind of like relate to those girls just because they have shared maybe similar experiences as I have, you know, why not? So thank you guys for watching my YouTube video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely love these types of videos where I'm just able to be home and, you know, I have my mic and just discuss with you guys. I feel like I'm just chatting on FaceTime basically, which is really relaxed content. I feel like I'm able to be very transparent, be very honest with some of my experiences. So if you guys want me to discuss on a specific subject, let me know. I'm going to try to like see other podcasts and see like what they're talking about, maybe, so I could be a bit more interesting for those of you who feel like my content isn't as interesting. So I'm definitely going to do that as a homework. But if you guys have any suggestions, please don't hesitate.